Right, so let's go. Welcome to this masterclass on 5 toxic foods to avoid and 5 ideal foods to include to reclaim your sexy body and radiance in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. And Linda here, Women's Wellness Activation Coach. I've been helping women to reclaim their mobility, strength, radiance, reverse diseases, lose weight so that they can enter their silver years with well-being and confidence. My works have been featured on every single major media in Singapore, Channel 5, Channel 8, Channel U, and several women's magazines. And I do this as my mission because I went through a challenge 20 years ago. I lost my ability to walk. I became very sick because I destroyed my health with marathons, binge eating, alcohol. And I went to many doctors and no one could help me. And I decided that I'm going to stop suffering. I will not become a cripple. And that is when I quit my job in the bank and I went traveling the world in search of a solution. So I went and stayed in several countries, America, India, China, Taiwan, Japan, and I learned living foods, TCM, Pilates, yoga, aquatic yoga, acupuncture, and I put together a system and I managed to cure myself within 1 year. And I've gone on to coach other women to help them to regain pain-free range of motion and to lose weight and reverse diseases in a very short amount of time. So I want to start by encouraging all the women that's listening to this, and that is we don't want to leave our health and our radiance to chances, because the statistics show that 43% of women become overweight after 40 years old, and 44% of women become disabled after 65 years old. And I have a strong feeling that the same women who are overweight after 40 years old are amongst most of them that got some form of disability after they hit 65. Does it make sense? So we know that obesity, overweight, and pain usually goes hand in hand, right? When a woman, usually when they come to me with pain, they are usually slightly or very overweight. Or or if you are overweight and you don't do anything about it, eventually you are going to develop some form of pain because of the pressure that you are placing on the joints, and then wrong posture, right? Okay, so every woman should take care of themselves and should take responsibility for themselves, and I am on a mission to educate all the women in my life how to do that. So I want to ask you a question, dear women, dear ladies. What is food? What do you think is food? What do you think is the definition of food in the dictionary? Can someone just type in the chat box? You can just have fun and guess what is food, right? And let me see how many of you got it correct. So let's have fun with it, okay? So food is what, right? I've been doing this work for the past 14 years and I still get very tickled by it when I ask the question, what is food, right? I get all kinds of very cute answers and they are lovely, but my poor women, none of them got it correct. And that's why majority of women are suffering from pain and diseases and obesity and becoming unattractive, losing our self-confidence when we enter our silver years. So yeah, Sham, you got it correct. I mean, you not got it correct. You made my point. You said anything that is edible, right? That's one. So Sally says something that fills our stomach, but it has to be nutritious. So Sally has gone through one term of my Radiant and Flourishing program. So she is a little bit more closer to the definition of food. I want to hear from Yan Ping. What is the definition of food to you, right? So, so to answer Sham's, to comment on Sham's reply that anything that's edible, okay? A table is edible, right, my dear? A table, a chair, a pencil, a pen is edible. Actually, no, plastic not, but a wooden table or a wooden cupboard is edible, okay? But do you want to eat that, right? It's organic, but it is not bioavailable. Right? So if it's not bioavailable, your body cannot break it down. Okay? So Yan Ping says food in order to maintain life and growth. Did you just check the dictionary, Yan Ping? I'm curious. Did you just check the dictionary? Because this is literally the dictionary definition. So well done to Yan Ping. That is correct, okay? In my master classes, in my program, the first concept we want to grasp, that we want to be clear about, is what is food, okay? Food is a substance that human beings eat in order to maintain life and growth, okay? This is the actual dictionary definition of food. Now, look at what is happening in the world now. Look at what is happening in Singapore. 1 in 3 diabetes, 1 in 2 are getting cancer, okay? Literally 50% of the population become sick, especially women. Women have a lot of problems, a lot more problems than men, because we also have osteoporosis. So it tells you that something is wrong with the way that majority of women are eating today. Does it make sense? And if you continue to eat like the majority of people out there, women out there, you are going to suffer pain, disease, and degeneration in your silver years. I say it with love. I'm not saying it to scold you, but I'm just here to deliver a message. This is a very real thing that we're dealing with. So food is a substance in order to maintain life and growth. So first, I want to cover the 5 toxic foods. They are not foods. They are Frankenstein foods. So these 5 major foods are in everywhere in our supermarket. They're so easily available. They are cheap, but I wouldn't call them food, because there is nothing that resembles food except for the taste of that particular food, okay? The first group that I'm going to share about is this food group that starts with the letter C, okay? And you'll find it in all supermarkets, and Americans love to eat it for breakfast. We have a lot of that as well in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Asia. What is that? Can you tell me? Type into the chat box, what is that? Let's see who gets it correct. It starts with C, okay? And it's one of the worst foods, right? You might as well just sit down and drink sugar, okay? It's full of additives and chemicals and preservatives that our body cannot break down. We cannot use it. We don't recognize it. The information is not recognizable. First food is this group called cereals. All the cereals, all the pops, cops, whatever it is there in the supermarket, this group of foods you want to exclude, because your body cannot break it down. It goes into your liver. Your liver has a hard time trying to flush it out. Your body stores it as fat, right? And then it's like it takes ages and ages to let go of that. One of my teachers in America, he told us that, you know, he was working with some marketing agencies, and they literally have campaigns to plan how to display the cereals in the supermarket to catch the kid's attention, so that the kid can hamper the parent to buy for them. So there is a huge marketing propaganda behind food industry, and I think we need to know, we need to know what are the wrong choices and what are the right choices to make. And the next thing is a drink. The second food group that we want to exclude, that is not really a food, that is causing us to put on weight and be sick and be miserable, is a drink, and it's sweet, and it starts with S, okay? So what is that? Make a guess. And the reason why it is bad for us is also because it is high in that word that starts with S, okay? And that is soda pop. So all kinds of soda pop that contains sugar, these are Frankenstein drinks that we do not want to include in our diet. They are toxic to us. You know, the moment you take in sugar in this form, your body doesn't know what to do with it. Okay, your insulin levels are going to go crazy. Your pancreas are going to be so stressed. And when we put our body through this kind of pressure, day in, day out, it's going to fail. Your fat burning system breaks down. Your ability to reduce, to eliminate toxins also break down. And you know what? Soda, especially cola, contains acid, phosphoric acid, that leaches calcium from our bones, from women's especially. Women, we want to pay attention, from our bones, and it leaches calcium from our teeth. And you know, it also contains a certain fluid that is used in embalming fluid. You know what's embalming fluid? You know, when a person dies, right, then the corpse have to be brought to the morgue, right, and then they have to do something to preserve the corpse, right? So one of the ingredient there is called formaldehyde, is used to prepare soda in cola. Okay, are you finding this very scary? I see Yanping smiling, so I'm very curious. Are you smiling? Is it because you have a lot of Coke at home? So confession, 20 years ago, I used to buy Coke by the cartons. When I open my fridge, I will have vodka, gin, brandy, whiskey on the side of my door, and then you will see on the center layer, the center level, 2 stacks of Coca-Cola, you know, and I buy from a dozen, so I got 1 dozen and then another dozen on top. That's one of my favorite hobby, drink Coke and smoke. So it's pretty amazing how I am still alive. So you don't want to be drinking this, my dear ladies. This is really like poison, and you know, it's so available, right? And if you walk around the street, this is so scary. It's like, especially during festive seasons, Chinese New Year, Hari Raya, we have all the New Year seasons. People like buy this as if it's like a culture, right? It's like a norm. So you really don't want to drink this because you're asking for trouble. You're making your bones, you know, losing your bones. You're poisoning your pancreas. You're just setting yourself up for suffering in future. Okay. Third food group that I want to talk about that you want to exclude from your diet that's toxic and also very widely available, and it's what all the advertisements are talking about. Oh, children must drink lots of this in order to grow strong bones, and then it starts with M. Okay, what is that? Yeah, so I think Sally got it. Well, basically, it refers to conventional dairy. Majority of dairy nowadays are in the form of milk, right? So of course we also have the other derived forms like cheeses and all that, but ladies, you don't want this. You really don't want to eat this because these milk, okay, nowadays are very differently derived from 50 years ago, for instance, okay, from 50 years ago, because right now we have this industrialization, right? And the condition of farming is like that, you know, for conventional cows. So they are squeezed and packed together, and then they are just given a little bit of space, and they have no room of maneuvering. They cannot move. The poor cows are like forced to stay in a very small area, and then they are being fed hormones and antibiotics every day to make them grow and grow faster. Why is that so? Because nowadays with the economic development, the farmers have to break even the yield on the land faster. Does it make sense? That means they have to, within a shorter period of time, the rental is very high, right? So they need to break even the rental, and so they inject hormones into the calves, the baby cows, to make them grow up in half the time that is normal for a healthy cow to grow up, to grow into a full cow, to be harvested, the milk and all that, right? So because of this, the hormones and the antibodies are in the milk and in the dairy and in the cheeses that we are buying in the supermarket. When we consume that hormones is going into our cells and telling our cells to grow and grow. And that is why we cannot lose weight when you're drinking conventional milk and dairy. Does it make sense, ladies? And think about it, for the longest time, doctors are saying, or the experts are saying, drink milk so that you get strong bones. And if you do the research, I've been doing research for the past 14 years. If you really do the research, the rate of osteoporosis is on the rise. It's not dropping, ladies. Do you all know that? So what is happening, right? We're drinking more and more milk. More and more resources are being dedicated to growing, to farming cows and extracting the milk. But we're all dying from osteoporosis. We're all suffering from osteoporosis at a higher and higher rate. So that tells us that something is wrong, okay? Right, can you take 2 fingers and bring to your eyes? Let's do something fun. And then you open like that and you say, ching, my third eye is opened. Thank you for playing. I just want to like juice things up so that you don't fall asleep, yeah? So now you have a third eye, your third eye is open. You're going to go out and you are going to be the minority of the women out there, okay? And you're going to have such an enlightened view when you shop for items later, okay? So Yep. So, and also the milk not only contains hormones and antibiotics, it also contains a lot of the mucus from the calves, because when they force milk the cows, right, in the farm range, it's not pretty. A lot of the mucus and the saliva and the pus from, you know, the cows, they collide, right, and then they crash into each other, one another, and they start to have wounds in their body, and there's pus, right, and all this get into the milk that has been processed and sold in cartons in the supermarket, and we are consuming all these toxins, and they are making our buttocks big and our stomach big, and then we cannot lose the fat no matter what we do, right? Okay, so the next food group, the fourth food group, very interesting, is something that is a staple for a lot of people, Asians, Americans. Besides cereals, when we wake up in the morning, we very often eat this thing. Starts with B. It's like a comfort food. It starts with B. What is it? Right? Yeah? Yes. Okay, I think you got it.
If you want to find out more, then come and join me at my upcoming webinar called Slim Sassy Strong. It is totally free, and I invite you to come and learn how to regain your mobility, how to eliminate joint pain, and even regain your youthfulness within 90 days. This webinar will be a safe space for all of us to learn more about transformative healing and resilience. To get registered, simply click on the link around this video, go to the next page and secure your seat to the webinar. I look forward to seeing you there.
So this is toxic food number 4. Oh my God! Now you say I cannot eat bread. How many of you got bread at home right now with you? How many of you got bread? Okay. So let that be the last loaf. So then people will ask, but what if it is wholemeal bread? Is it okay? Answer is no. Look at the ingredients. All the wholemeal breads that's being sold out there, take the bread, look at the ingredient, run through all the ingredients, and go and research one by one. I did that, okay? I actually stopped after 5 ingredients because I decided I don't want to eat that. And if you really go and research the ingredient one by one, you'll notice that most of them are like food plastic, okay? Food grade plastic. And they are like conditioners to soften the flour to make it nice to eat. But they are not really food. They are like glue. So that's why gluten is derived from the word glutinous. Gluten is derived from the word glue. When we eat this, it becomes glue in your intestine that takes a long time and a lot of energy to break down and to detox out from the body. Does it make sense, ladies? Okay, so and what happens is, instead of digesting it, the body cannot digest the bread, right? It ferments. It ferments in the gut and it raises your sugar level, and then it forces our body to store as fat. And that's why when you eat bread, you find that you cannot lose weight no matter how hard you try. Okay? So let that be your last loaf, ladies. And it's, yep, I really encourage you to give this food up, because it's really not giving you any benefit, and it's causing you to be overweight, and you notice that your metabolism gets slower and slower when you put glue into your body, because the body is like so tired trying to break down the glue, okay? The 5th toxic food, okay? Can someone guess? So this food, this is not a food, this is basically really not a food. I found out about this 10 years ago and I was so shocked. But they're still selling it everywhere. So this is a common replacement for butter. What is that? It's a common replacement for butter. Yes, Sally, you got it. Okay. The other ladies, did y'all get it? It starts with M. Okay. Common replacement for butter, it starts with M. Did y'all guess it? Sally, you got it right. So many years ago, when this first got popular, there were a lot of experts that came out, or research that came out, that says, oh, so this is low fat, it's healthier for the heart, blah blah blah, right? Okay, so you want to be able to tell what is marketing hype and what is the truth. So this is literally plastic. this is just one molecule away from plastic. If you study the anatomy, the the chemical anatomy of margarine, this is just one molecule of plastic. It is plastic by itself. If you buy a tub of this and you put it out there on your balcony or on your corridor, okay, no ants will come, no cockroaches will come near it. And you know what's the most scary part? It will not rot. And if it doesn't rot, and even if the cockroaches don't want to eat it, why do you want to eat it? Make sense? Do you all know this? Are you learning a lot? So, right, so don't put these foods into your body. There are many delicious, nutritious foods that are wonderful for our health, and would you like to know what are those? Would you like to know what to eat instead? Hello? Okay. So, I was looking for, like that. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the 5 ideal foods to include, and here we go. First group that you should eat a lot of, and starts with G, okay, and it's fresh, right? It grows from earth, and it's this fresh greens, G, vegetables, greens. We should eat a lot of these. So we're talking about things that grow from earth. So how do you tell whether a thing grows from earth or not? Would you know? I hope you know, because I think nowadays children are a little bit cut off from nature. You know, I ever know a kid before when we asked him where do you think rambutans came from, right? I mean the fruit. And they say, and then he once told me that it came from the fridge. The fruit come from the fridge. So that is really funny, but quite sad at the same time, right? So the first key is to know whether this, ask yourself the question, did this grow from the earth? Okay? Can you ask yourself this question? It's very simple. You look at the food, whatever it is, a broccoli or a can of something, you ask yourself, did this grow from earth itself? It's a very, very simple question, okay? So greens, vegetables, these are amazing foods. They contain nutrients, they are bioavailable for us. Bioavailable means that your body can decipher the information of the food. Does it make sense? If it is not bioavailable, like a table, a wooden table is also organic. Theoretically, a wooden table also has minerals and vitamins, right? But we cannot eat a wooden table because it is not bioavailable. The information that the wooden table contains is different from our body. We cannot recognize it. Does it make sense? Okay, so we want to eat foods that are bioavailable. Does it make sense? When we come from, when we go, right, when we passed on, we also disintegrate, right? We also rot, and then we become part of earth. That is why we have to eat foods that come from earth. Does it make sense? It has to be the same material. So that's the simplest way of explaining that I can think of. I hope you get it, my dear women. It's so important, so important, because this is going to prevent you from having cancer, make sure that you never get heart diseases. The other thing about obesity is if you don't correct it now, it's very likely going to develop into heart diseases, right? Heart attacks, okay? Alzheimer's is another one. Brain degenerative diseases are very closely linked to obesity. Okay, so there's also research that proves that belly fat, if you happen to have a lot of fat around your stomach, who can relate to that? A lot of fat, the fat just accumulate at the stomach, right? If you have that, then your risk of heart disease is going to be doubled, at least double, when we cross our 50s, 60s, right? It's going to be bad news, right? The pain and suffering, the cost, the expensive medical care and all that. We really don't want to go there. So it all starts with what you put into your mouth. Second, ideal food. It's a high protein food, and it's something that I love to eat very frequently. It starts with E. It's very versatile. You can fry it, steam it, boil it. You can half boil it. Okay, what is that? That is eggs, right? So there is a lot of energy content in the egg yolk that allows the little mini embryo to develop into a chick. Does it make sense? Okay, so that's why eggs are very, very nutritious. Now, here's the catch. What kind of eggs? So I'm going to share with you something that is going to save your life and save you a ton of suffering in future if you execute what I'm about to share with you. Okay, ready? So 20 years ago when I was working in the bank, I served a group of SME clients. I was in corporate bank, and one of them owns a farm, a chicken farm. Okay, and I was told I'm not going to share the name of the farm. I'm also not going to tell you which country it is from, but it is a pretty big farm. They have chickens and they have eggs. And he told me this. He said, so I was financing his facility in the bank, and we had a conversation, and he said, my family and my extended family had not been eating eggs ever since we have this farm, because we look at the number of injections that we're giving to the chickens every day. We don't dare to eat the eggs. Okay, so this story tells you everything, right? And since then, I also do not dare to eat eggs unless they are organic and range-free. Okay, does it make sense? So organic eggs, look for those range-free organic eggs that says humanely raised. Because if the chickens are humanely raised, that means they are given room to run about, to go through the normal growing up process, and not forced to grow up fast, and not forced to lay eggs via the method of injections. Does it make sense, ladies? So go for still eat eggs, but make sure you choose range-free, organic, and buy from a reliable source. Okay. Yeah, so once upon a time, chickens didn't get a lot of injections in order to lay eggs, right? Once upon a time, 20, 30, maybe 40 to 50 years ago, chickens were running around in the kampong, in the jungle, and then they lay eggs, right? And then the eggs became food for the family, and it really helps them to become strong and grow up well, right? But nowadays, unfortunately, because of industrialization, most of the eggs that come into the supermarket, they are coming from chicken farms, right? Chicken farms that are commercialized, and the amount of antibiotics and injections that are being given to the chickens are crazy. I think it's about 3 injections every day. 1 to prevent it from falling sick, 1 to make it grow up faster, and then 1 to make it lay more eggs. So that's why if you want to eat chicken, you also don't want to eat normal conventional chicken. Go for the range-free kampong chicken. Animal foods are fine. My personal take is that animal foods are fine, but if you want to eat meat, make sure you eat a healthy animal. Does it make sense? The animal must be healthy. Then when you eat the animal, it can serve you well. It gives you nutrients without toxins. Make sense, ladies? Okay. Right, next. Okay, next is a type of food, a type of protein food that is very popular amongst vegans, a very popular source of protein amongst vegetarians and vegans, and they are legumes. And in particular, there are 2 types of legumes that are best in terms of digestibility, protein, amino acids content. Amino acids basically is protein. Smallest molecule of protein is amino acids. 2 types here. What do you see? Chickpeas, and the second type are lentils. So there's so many ways to prepare them. They're very versatile. You know, you can just eat them as they are. You can steam them. You can make them into stews or soups. Okay. All right. And next, ideal food number 4. What do you see here? Yeah. What do you see here? So, canned fish. Okay. The best sources of canned fish are literally sardines, mackerel, tuna, and once again you want to look at the sauce. Typically, you want to look at the organic ranges of the canned fish, and make sure that it says no chemicals. Conventionally farmed canned fish are a little bit dubious, so I tend to stay away from those because I don't know what kind of feed they give to the fish. So to be safe, I usually go towards purer sources. There are such options. You just got to look and read the labels. Got to put in a little bit more energy and effort when you do your grocery shopping to read labels. Okay, do you all read labels, by the way? How many of you read labels when you go shopping? You do, right? Okay, this is crucial. Thank you. This is a lifesaver. Do not buy anything and put into your body without reading the ingredients. Before you put something in, you have to know what is it. What are the ingredients? What are you putting in? Is it going to help you or is it going to harm you? Okay, and if you don't understand it, then don't buy it. Common sense, right? Okay, so personally, me and my husband, we stock up a lot of sardines. The wild caught sardines is one of them. Salmon not so much for canned fish, but the other one is mackerel that we do a lot. So you can keep these handy, and it's really simple to throw a dinner together with some canned fish and a salad, flavor it with olive oil, and you have a very nice, nutritious meal, right? That doesn't take away, that doesn't put your body into inflammation, that doesn't make you put on weight. It nourishes your body physically and energetically. Okay, are you gaining a lot of value out of this? Are you gaining a lot of benefit, right? Okay, last food group that I want to talk about is this seeds and nuts category, but I chose seeds here to share with you girls because ideally we want to limit seeds and nuts, right? Because they are high in fat. Okay, so even though they are healthy foods, but when you eat foods that are very high and dense in calories, they also add into the energy content, correct? And if you don't burn the energy, you will still put on weight, correct? So, so you want to have this in moderation, and typically seeds are a little bit more superior over nuts, okay? A little bit more because of the energy. I can't remember what was the thing behind, but things like flax seeds, pine nuts, but actually they are very small, right? So they are pine seeds, pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds, right? These have very healthy fats, okay, and they are a little bit less acidic than nuts, okay? So if you want to go for nuts, you can. The best choice is almonds. This is the most alkalizing nut. Second choice would be walnuts, okay? I would stay away from cashews. So now I'm sharing with you my 20 years of raw food experience. I would stay away from cashews because cashews tend to put the body into inflammation a lot more than almonds. Almonds are alkalizing. Walnuts is less alkalizing, but because walnuts have a lot of good omega-3, 6 that feed your brain and your skin. So, walnuts are really very nutritious. Cashews are something that I would not take a lot of. So, so this is to give you some of the healthier seeds. Now, flax seeds have got very rich omega-3s, okay? In my Radiant Flourishing program, Sally, you might have remembered this, right? There is a segment on the ratio between omega-3 and 6. Did you catch that part? So under the raw food segment, so typically we want to go towards omega-3 rather than 6. Okay, just remember this. We want to go towards omega-3 rather than 6. And flax seeds are high in 3s, omega-3s. Another type of seeds are chia seeds. Chia seeds are also very high in omega-3s. So why do we want to go towards omega-3? Because omega-3 puts the body out of inflammation. It brings the body out of inflammation. Too much omega-6 and 9 will push your body into inflammation. Okay? All right? So things like beef, steak, lamb, all these are very high in omega-9, 6 and 9. So they tend to put the body into a very acidic state. Okay, you girls know what are fatty acids, right? Fatty acids are like essential acids that your body needs to function, your cells need to function in order to send the nerve, the messages between your brains and your body, healthy brain functioning. So hormones functioning, so it's essential, but your body cannot manufacture it, so you need to eat from sources, from food sources. Okay, so I highly recommend you to prepare these ideal foods at home, because if you have healthy foods at home, if you have ideal foods at home, you will eat ideal foods. If you have toxic foods at home, you will eat toxic foods. Does it make sense? So you want to populate your fridge with the right foods. Okay, I have a couple of YouTube videos also. You can go and take a look at how to reduce refined sugar and all that. Really useful. And you know, on your next shopping trip, you want to start to populate your house, okay, with the right foods. So degeneration is a myth. How do I know? Because if you follow my story, 20 years ago, I was really living a very bad lifestyle. A little bit about myself. When I was young, I had a very traumatic childhood. My dad was gambling. My mom was mentally unstable. So I was literally raised with a lot of abuse. And my mom used to scream in my ears, "You're a girl. You don't deserve to study. You should grow up and either find a rich husband or go and prostitute yourself." So I grew up with a lot of pain and a lot of trauma. And when I reached 14 years old, I decided to work to pay for my own school and studies. And I'm very fortunate. I made it to National University of Singapore, and I got into the top faculty, banking and finance faculty. I graduated with a finance degree, and then I went to work in the bank. I was successful pretty quickly, but I was so angry. I was such an angry person. And I was angry towards my parents, I was angry towards myself, and I lived life trying to destroy myself. So I was eating, binge eating. I had disorders. I had eating disorders. I was drinking every day, every night. I would drink a bottle of brandy by myself. I would smoke a pack of 20 cigarettes every day. And then I would run marathons, and I would wakeboard, and I couldn't slow down. I had to look for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing to fill myself up, because I just couldn't be silent, because I couldn't face the demons that have been haunting me since young. And to a certain extent, I was like abusing myself the way that my mom was abusing me. I was recreating the trauma in my adult life. You know, so it got to a point whereby I lost my ability to walk, and then my periods disappeared. And I went to see the doctors. The doctors told me that there's no cure for degeneration. You have to consider surgery and be on medication for the rest of your life. I remember thinking that I couldn't walk to the mall. I was limping. My knees were gone. I couldn't even get out of bed in the morning. It was incredible. And I remember thinking to myself, I felt so embarrassed when I was out in the street, because I felt like the whole world was judging me. And I felt like I was really not worthy, because you know, I had pain, and then you know, I couldn't even hold my body up straight. And then the medication from the gynae that she gave me to try to force the periods to come made me break out in eczema. So I was in pain, I was ugly, and I hated myself. And it was rock bottom. It got to the point where, you know, I almost wanted to kill myself a second time. Anyway, so I had to tell myself, you know, that I need to stop abusing myself. I had to get to a point whereby I had to finally, you know, give up self-bashing and find that place in myself to love myself, and to be my own mother, and to be my own father, and to be the lover that I've always wanted, before I finally took action to change my life. And what happened was, I decided that I will not accept degeneration. I will not accept this as my fate. And I said, no way, I'm not going to be a cripple. I have gone through so much shit in my life, and now I am free of my abuse from childhood, but I am going to be a cripple, and I'm going to be ugly and unattractive and no hope and no self-confidence. No way, I'm not going to let that happen. And then I quit my job in the bank, and I went traveling, and that's how I started searching and how I started to travel the world and lived in several countries to learn about healing. And I am very I'm proud to say that I think I'm the best coach in the whole world for women, because I couldn't find a coach like me who knew everything about healing, who has got the skill sets, who's got the expertise, and who's got the heart and the love to want to help women. So the reason why I'm so passionate about what I do is because I've gone through a lot of suffering. I've gone through hell. I've gone through a period in my life whereby I look in the mirror and no matter what I see fat and ugly. So I know exactly how it feels like to have self-doubt and low self-esteem as a woman, and I know how to get you out of that. Whatever problems you are having, whether you're having pain in your body or whether you need to regain your mobility and your strength, whether you need to reduce your weight and to lose fat and to get that sexy dream body that you've always been wanting so that you can feel happy and confident about yourself, I can help you, okay? So how do I know that degeneration is a myth? How do I know that? Because I have overcome it. I have gone from not being able to walk to being able to now stand and walk with ease. I have optimal mobility and I am more radiant and confident than I was 20 years ago actually.
I'm sure you want to find out more, which is why I'm holding an upcoming webinar called Slim Sassy Strong, which is specially for women like you. You will learn more about low-impact exercises, ways to heal your body naturally, nutrition tips to shed the weight while enjoying your favorite food, and more. To register, simply click on the link around this video. There's really a lot to learn and I can't wait to share all that with you. So I really hope to see you there.
Slim Sassy Strong!